Okay, because obviously one of the things is we need to accommodate the new position of China, don't we? And is there consideration for including the renminbi into the special drawing rights, the IMF currency, which would be one way of bringing China perhaps more into the centre of things?
Every 5 years we have to revisit the basket of currencies that determines the value of the special drawing right, which is that sort of strange currency that was invented back decades ago to be sort of a single unifying currency that would hedge key currencies against each other. There are several criteria that need to be taken into account. One is that currency should play a critical role in terms of exports, and the country holding that currency should be an export leader. It certainly is the case with China. The other criteria is the sort of freely tradable aspect of that currency, and that is clearly will be under review, and we will determine whether technically the conditions are satisfied, and then it will be for the board to make a decision as to whether the basket of currencies should be enlarged to include the renminbi and any other currency that would satisfy.
Because one of the things that seems to have happened is, because we haven't had reform in the quotas, we've seen major countries like China set up the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. We've seen the BRICS Bank set up. And some people are saying, well, because these countries can't get what they want in the IMF, they're setting up their own IMFs. I mean, is that an argument you would buy into, or do you see it differently from that?
I think the emerging market economies are determined to play their legitimate role in the global economy. And if they do not see their role, they sit at the table, they quota shares, their voices, commensurate to the role they play in the global economy, temptation is great to actually set up shop somewhere else. And I think that it is partly the reason why we are seeing a BRICS bank, partly the reason why we're seeing this Asian International Investment Bank, partly the reason we're seeing this network of swap lines between the central banks. I don't think it's necessary to compete with the IMF or the World Bank, but it's a way to have a shadow system that could eventually play a key role if this institution, the IMF, or others, do not reform enough to actually be more inclusive and better mirror the state of the economy.
I mean, could you see a situation where, let's say, an Asian country needed assistance in the future, and you work together with the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank on a bailout or some form of assistance?
Yes and no. I see us very much cooperating and working in a very concerted fashion with this swap line network between central banks, because that would be our counterpart. And we do have regional arrangements already in place, whether it's the Shanghai arrangement or the European stability mechanisms, and we work cooperatively, and we try to operate in good understanding, which certainly would be our plan, our intention with these BRICS institution. The AIIB is a slightly different beast, if you will, because it's investing. We are not investing. We are lending, we are doing surveillance, and we are helping countries in trouble. We're not in the investment business.